Welcome to VNT. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. On October 16, 2025, China stunned the world by announcing a 500% tariff on a broad range of American goods. This sweeping measure, unprecedented in its scale, immediately sent shockwaves through international markets and diplomatic circles. The announcement was made during a high-profile press conference in Beijing, with Chinese officials emphasizing the necessity of such a drastic response to what they described as ongoing economic aggression from the United States. The sheer magnitude of the tariff left analysts and business leaders scrambling to assess the potential fallout, both for American exporters and for the global economy at large. This is a dramatic escalation in the US-China trade war, far beyond previous tit-for-tat measures. While both countries have imposed tariffs in the past, never before has either side resorted to such an extreme and all-encompassing penalty. The move signals a new phase in the conflict, one where economic brinkmanship threatens to overshadow any hopes for negotiation or compromise. Investors around the world reacted with alarm, as stock markets tumbled and fears of a prolonged standoff grew. The move effectively shuts American products out of the Chinese market, signaling Beijing's willingness to endure economic pain to counter U.S. protectionism. For American companies, the consequences are immediate and severe. Shelves in Chinese stores are expected to empty of U.S. goods, and major American brands may be forced to close their operations in China. At the same time, Chinese consumers and businesses will also feel the impact, as supply chains are disrupted and prices rise. This bold action demonstrates China's resolve to defend its interests, even at significant cost. China's timing is strategic, coming just days after President Trump threatened a 100% tariff on all Chinese imports. By responding so swiftly and forcefully, Beijing is sending a clear message that it will not back down in the face of U.S. pressure. The tit-for-tat escalation has now reached a new and dangerous level, with both sides digging in and showing little willingness to compromise. The world is left to wonder how far this standoff might go, and what the long-term consequences will be for global trade. With this bold step, China is daring the U.S. to risk a complete economic split, sending global markets into turmoil and raising urgent questions about the future of globalization. The ripple effects are being felt far beyond the two countries, as multinational corporations, investors, and governments scramble to adapt to a rapidly changing landscape. The possibility of a decoupling between the world's two largest economies is no longer just a distant threat. It is now a real and immediate concern. As the world watches, the stakes have never been higher for both economies and the global order. The coming weeks will be critical, as leaders on both sides weigh their next moves and the world braces for the potential fallout of this historic confrontation. The future of international trade, and perhaps the stability of the global economy itself, now hangs in the balance. The road to China's 500% tariff began just 5 days ago, when President Trump announced plans for sweeping new tariffs on all Chinese goods. This announcement was a significant shift in the ongoing trade negotiations, catching many by surprise. This shattered a fragile trade truce and sent U.S. markets tumbling. Investors reacted with immediate concern, fearing the long-term implications of such a drastic move. China responded immediately, warning of severe retaliation and launching targeted economic measures. The Chinese government made it clear that they would not back down, escalating tensions further. The tit-for-tat escalated rapidly, with both sides targeting sensitive sectors and threatening to halt key imports and exports. Industries on both sides of the Pacific braced for impact as the economic fallout began to take shape. Diplomatic options have narrowed, and the upcoming Trump-Xi summit in South Korea is now seen as a last-ditch chance to avoid a full-blown economic confrontation. Both leaders are under immense pressure to find a resolution. The November deadlines loom, and the world braces for either a breakthrough or a devastating trade war. The stakes have never been higher, and the global economy hangs in the balance. China's unprecedented tariff is the culmination of this rapid, dangerous escalation. As analysts dissect the potential outcomes, the world watches closely, hoping for a resolution that can prevent further economic turmoil. Tariffs are taxes on imported goods, designed to make foreign products more expensive and protect domestic industries. For example, a 100% tariff doubles the price of a Chinese-made TV in the US, making American alternatives more attractive. Tariffs ripple through the economy, raising costs for businesses that rely on imports and often leading to higher prices for consumers. While intended to protect jobs, tariffs can backfire, hurting exporters, disrupting supply chains, and triggering layoffs in affected industries. Ultimately, consumers pay the price through inflation, as everyday goods become more expensive. Governments may collect tariff revenue, but the financial burden falls on households. In a trade war, everyone feels the impact, at the checkout, in the workplace, and across the economy. The trade war between the US and China has evolved into a high-stakes chess match, where each side carefully chooses its next move. Gone are the days of blanket tariffs. Now the conflict is fought with precision strikes, targeting industries and resources that matter most to the other side. Every decision is calculated, every action designed to maximize impact and send a clear message. China's near monopoly on rare earth minerals, essential for everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced military hardware, gives it powerful leverage over global supply chains. By imposing new export controls, China threatens to choke off critical materials, putting immense pressure on US tech and defense industries that rely on these resources to function and innovate. The US, in response, has ramped up its own measures, targeting a wide range of Chinese goods. Steep port fees and stricter inspections have driven up shipping costs, creating bottlenecks and delays that ripple through both economies, affecting businesses and consumers alike. Agricultural trade has become a major battleground. China has retaliated by banning US beef and halting massive soybean purchases, directly striking at the heart of American farming communities. For many US farmers, these bans mean unsold crops, financial uncertainty, and a growing sense of vulnerability. Both nations are now weaponizing specific sectors, from cutting-edge technology to basic food supplies, in an effort to inflict maximum pain and gain the upper hand in negotiations. The ripple effects are felt not just in boardrooms and factories, but also on family farms and in everyday households. This is no longer a simple trade dispute over tariffs or quotas. It's a multi-front economic war, with each side opening new fronts and testing the other's resolve. Every move is part of a larger strategy to disrupt, pressure, and ultimately reshape the global balance of power. Behind closed doors, negotiators weigh risks and rewards, knowing that a single misstep could have global consequences. The stakes now extend far beyond tariffs or trade deficits. They're about economic supremacy, technological leadership, and the future of global influence. The outcome of this conflict will shape not just the US and China, but the entire world economy for years to come. The US-China trade war is sending shockwaves through global markets, triggering wild swings and deepening uncertainty. Stock indices have plunged, oil and crypto prices have tumbled, and investors are fleeing to safety. For ordinary people, the most immediate impact is rising prices. Tariffs are driving up the cost of everything from groceries to electronics. Inflation is squeezing household budgets, especially for families already struggling to make ends meet. The International Monetary Fund warns that global growth is slowing, with supply chains disrupted and demand falling worldwide. Developing nations are especially vulnerable as their exports suffer. What began as a fight to protect national interests now threatens prosperity and stability across the globe. Governments and corporations are scrambling to adapt. In Washington, officials talk tough but hint at possible negotiations, while Beijing vows to fight or talk as needed. Multinational companies are rethinking supply chains, some doubling down on China, others shifting production to avoid tariffs. Allies like Canada are caught in the crossfire, threatening to withhold critical resources if US policies harm their interests. The America First approach is straining old alliances and fragmenting the global economic order. Meanwhile, some Chinese exporters are pivoting to Europe and the UK, showing how quickly global trade can adapt. The world is adjusting in real time to a new era of economic rivalry. The future of US-China relations hangs in the balance with three possible paths ahead. A diplomatic breakthrough at the upcoming Trump-Xi summit could pause new tariffs and calm markets, but would only delay deeper issues. Continued escalation risks a full economic decoupling, shattered supply chains, and a global recession. A third scenario, managed conflict, where rivalry and cooperation coexist, forcing businesses and nations to navigate constant uncertainty. The choices made in the coming weeks will shape the global economy for years. Jobs, prices, and prosperity everywhere are on the line. The world is watching, hoping for dialogue but bracing for confrontation. At this crossroads, the stakes could not be higher.